Well, greetings everyone and welcome to another edition of Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome to the show, boys and girls. Welcome to the Adam Project, because today we're going to review the recently released Netflix film, The Adam Project, which stars Ryan Reynolds and directed by Shawn Levy. And we're going to discuss a scenario that takes place in this film that just ran across my mind when I first heard about this movie. And it's interesting to me. The premise of the Adam Project, we have Ryan Reynolds, who plays Adam Reed, who goes back in time and meets his younger self, and they work together to try to save the future. So I love that. I loved that scenario. And I got to thinking. I said, what would you do if you can go back in time and change something? What would you do if you can go back in time and talk to your younger self? What advice would you give your younger self? I think I brought this up in a previous episode. Would you tell your younger self to change certain things? You know, and you gotta keep in mind, if you tell your younger self to change or go a different direction that you did when you was younger, you might lose some of the good things that you have now. Now you may be going through some bad things in your life that you wish you can change, but you still have some good. You know, you may have your family, your wife, your kids, things, just a couple of things. But anyways, what if you go back and tell your younger self this, and you risk losing all that? Now, you may gain wealth or fame or whatever, all the things that you want, but you won't have your family. So then you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Of course, then again, you got to ask yourself, would you even realize that you lost your family due to the timeline stuff? I don't know anything about quantum physics and how the timeline works, but I'm just saying, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I'll start with this question. What about what time would you go back and change things, if you can change things? Would you change something when you were in middle school or high school or college? Or maybe you don't have to go back that far. Maybe you only go back a couple of years. A particular incident took place, a car wreck or something that you can go back and change. Would you go back? Honestly, I honestly struggle with it. Now, when I was younger, of course, yeah, I want to time travel. I want to go back, especially when I was in my 20s. I wish I could have went back and went back to school, went back to college. I graduated from high school, and I said that was enough. And so I wish I would have. I sometimes wish I would have went back to school. Even though I could still go back to school now, so it's not too late. But I could have got all that out the way then, and maybe done better for myself, done better for my family, things like that. Or would I go back to when I was in high school, even before I got out of high school, and told myself, hey, Kev, this little math class that you feel is obsolete, maybe you ought to pay a little bit more attention to it, or see that girl over there that you just feel you gotta have, leave her alone. Leave that alone. You gonna be all right. You'll get something better. leave that alone. That's going to be nothing but heartache and pain if you go down that road. I definitely would take that one. I would take that one, among other things. But but I have to remember, me going down that road is what led me to what I found better. I probably wouldn't have found something better if I would have just left it alone. I probably would have went straight to something else. I don't know. See, that's the fear of time travel. That's the fear. Because I don't know. Now, in this film, in the Adam Project, Ryan Reynolds' character, I just, let's get into the review. We're going to do it differently. Normally I talk, then we get into the review. I'm going to go back and forth with this, because there's a lot I want to say. So the Adam Project. The Adam Project is a Netflix film. It's directed by Sean Levy, and Sean Levy co-wrote this with several people. This film has been in development since 2012, and so it has went through very different variations. It was a hardcore action film at one point with Tom Cruise attached to it. Then it kind of dwindled down to a more action comedy adventure film, and that's where they landed on. But it went through development hell until Netflix got it, and Sean Levy got the project. Actually, the star Ryan Reynolds brought this to Sean Levy, and the rest, as they say, is history. Now, these two had a history of working together just this past year, actually technically 2 years ago, with Free Guy, and very successful, very good, one of the best films of last year, I can honestly say. And they got a good working relationship, which you could see. And in this film, they continue it on with this relationship. This movie is not what I thought it would be. I really enjoyed this movie. It's not typical Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is, just, it's there. Don't get me wrong. He's still funny, dropping one-liners. His little deadpan humor is on point. But he takes a comedic / serious approach to this character, and I truly enjoyed it. But I must say this. I gotta say this. The star of this movie is not Ryan Reynolds. It's not Mark Ruffalo. It's not Jennifer Garner. It's not Zoe Saldana. It's not Catherine Keener. The star of this movie is a young man who has never been in a movie before. This is his first feature film, and he plays the younger Adam Reed, and that is Walker Schrubel. Bruh, I'm so impressed with this young man. I am so impressed with this dude because he mimicked Ryan Reynolds to a T. If I wasn't into films or, researching films and, going into certain things, I wouldn't know that this was his first film. I thought it, because I went to looking up what other projects he was involved with. This was his first. And if you ever go online and look up a clip with Ryan Reynolds, I guess they was in between takes or whatever, but Ryan Reynolds and Walker were in this car, and Walker was reciting the first 5 minutes of Deadpool 2 to Ryan Reynolds. He memorized it. He was a big fan of Deadpool, so he memorized it, and he went on he just delivered the lines, what was going on, the action that took place, and he just did it straight, just off the memory. I can't even do that, and I've seen Deadpool 2 several times, but he did it, and it's just sweet, and the way Ryan Reynolds react to it was awesome, and their back and forth in this film, they had great chemistry together. To say that he had to play the younger version of Ryan Reynolds, and I really, honestly, I really enjoyed their chemistry. This film, critics pretty much received positive reviews from critics, especially for the performances, Sean Levy's direction, and the visual effects, which was pretty good. I really enjoyed that. The plot of this film, follows a pilot who was portrayed by Ryan Reynolds from the future, who goes back in time and encounters his younger self in a quest to save the future. Zoe Saldana plays Ryan Reynolds' wife from the future, and she went back in time, and he's really going back in time to find her, and he went to the wrong time. It was just a lot. It was a lot going on, but you could follow it. It is so good, and I was really moved by the point of views of these two different Adams. We have the point of view from the older Adam and the younger Adam. How the younger Adam treats his mother after his father had died in a car crash, and how he was coping, and how their relationship, young Adam and the mother, portrayed by Jennifer Garner, how it was tough on her, how he treats her, and how the older Adam has a complete opposite view of it, because at this point in his timeline, he doesn't have his mother, so now he can look back and regret how he treated his mother. And you flip it again with the father aspect, how at this point young Adam, admires his dad. He looks up to his dad. His dad is his hero, and blah, blah, blah. And how the older Adam had got to the point where he forgot the impact that his father had on him, and he basically resented his father. But the younger Adam had to tell him that, no, dad was working all the time, but he always found time to play catch with us and stuff like this. And it's a reminder of appreciating things while you have it. That's really why I wanted to get into this. When you're younger, and I can contest to this. When you're younger, you think you know everything. You think you know more than your parents. You think you know more than everybody. Until you actually get older and you realize that you don't know nothing, and your parents try to tell you different, and you don't want to listen to them. But now you see, it's like, now I don't know if all my listeners have children, but for those of you who do have kids, you remember when you was younger and you thought your parents were crazy. I mean, nuttier than squirrel poo. You thought your parents was just flipped out insane. I did. I told my parents were loopy, man. I thought they were crazy. Like, why y'all do this, man? Why y'all have all these rules? Why y'all do, what is this? This ain't life. I thought I was miserable. I thought I was in a prison. Then I had children, and then I got it. And then I understood. Because the same things my parents used to say to me, and I'll get mad as fish grease, hot as fish grease, I tell my kids. It's like a reverse. I mean, it's like history repeating itself. And you sit there like, oh my God, I got it. When I was a kid, I must have been an idiot. And this is what older Adam, was reflecting back to younger Adam. The more he was around younger Adam, he realized that he was an idiot back when he was younger. He could not stand his younger self, you know, because he saw all his, I guess you could say, flaws in his younger self. And the younger Adam saw what he becomes, you know, when he gets older. Somebody he didn't like. And it was I thought that was such a great dynamic, and how they came to work out their problems, I guess you can say, their internal problems, with each other. It is crazy, but it was beautiful. I loved Mark Ruffalo's appearance in this film. He plays the dad, and he died, like I said, he dies in a car crash. But when they go back to talk to him to try to save the future and blah blah blah, and he tells him, "Look, don't tell me what happens. Don't try to stop it. You know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen." And I thought that was such a gut wrenching thing to me, you know, because you go back to save everything, try to change the future, and the one thing you wish you could change, you can't, or you're not allowed to do. And because that was basically what the villain of this film did, and that's what they were fighting against. So if they were to save their father, they were no better than the villain. Which leads me to pretty much my only flaw. Well, not my only, but my biggest flaw in this movie. The villain was just unnecessary. I ain't gonna say unnecessary, but it made zero sense to me. I did not like the villain, and I like Catherine Keener. She is an awesome actress. Seen 90% of her projects. Did not like her in this movie. Did not think, and it wasn't her fault. She was basically a mustache twirling villain. It was like the plot, her storyline. Excuse me, her storyline was just silly. It didn't really go with the movie. It was nothing. I mean, for her to turn into, I don't know. It was dumb. That was the one thing I just could not stand about this movie. It was needless, pointless rather. It was pointless. I just did not like the villain. The rest of the film I felt was excellent. And that really, really takes away from this movie. I mean, to the point where it affected my greed a lot. I mean, this was one of the best Ryan Reynolds films up to that point. And the villains throughout the whole movie, but it's stupid. It's a stupid villain. It's a really stupid villain. They could have did anything other than that. But I understand that it is a family film per se, and I get it. But it just didn't match. It just didn't go with me. It didn't fit into this type of movie. But the performances were great. Ryan Reynolds, like I said, one of his best. I like Zoe Saldana. She's not in it long, but when she's in it, she was perfect. It was instant chemistry with Ryan Reynolds, and I'll say this: Ryan Reynolds has chemistry with everybody. Anybody he's on screen with, he has instant chemistry with. That he's just that type of guy. He's that type of actor, that type of person, and it didn't affect. Well, it didn't change here. Rather, what I'm trying to say, but yeah, this was this was pretty good, man. Jennifer Garner as the mom. The short time and the few scenes that she's in, she makes the most out of her scenes. Mark Ruffalo makes the most out of his scenes. I mean, everybody came to bring it except Catherine Clinton. And I feel so bad for her. I feel so bad for her because, like I said, she is an awesome actress. Awesome actress. Wasted here. Her younger self, when she goes back in time and meets her younger self, they use de-aging and you couldn't tell. It was bad de-aging, really bad de-aging, and she's a beautiful woman, but it's just bad de-aging. It didn't. It was like it was morphing in and out of older, younger, older, younger as she moved her head. It just was bad. That's a technology that they have yet to perfect. Yeah, it didn't work for me. That character just didn't work. It wasn't Catherine Keener. It was the character. It's honestly the writing of that character. But overall, it's still a good film, still watchable movie. I give The Adam Project a B plus. I highly recommend it. It is really, really good, and it's really it really makes you think about. Well, at least it made me think about, going back and telling 12-year-old Kevin some things differently, some not so much life changing to the point where now I'm an astronaut, but I mean changing just little decisions. Now I know about the butterfly effect and can cause a ripple through time and all this here, but it's just some things I would go back and tell myself, like start paying more attention in school. Stop all the clowning around and girl chasing. Well, maybe not the girl. I wouldn't change that, but I was maybe just tone it down just a tad. But it's certain things that I would love to change. But I can honestly say this though, every decision I made when I was younger, rather good or bad, has shaped me into the person that I am today. And the person that I am today is not too bad. I kind of like myself if I don't say so myself. But the other point that I wanted to make about the Adam Project, like I said, this is the second pairing with Ryan Reynolds and director Sean Levy. We getting a third pairing out of this duo. And it was just announced a few days ago that they will be teaming up again for Deadpool 3. Ryan Reynolds is returning as Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, and the director of that film will be Sean Levy, and that will be interesting. That is going to be very, very interesting because if you've seen Free Guy is very almost Deadpoolish in a way. it had elements of Deadpool vibes in it. Even to the point when the movie was going to be first going to be released, there were rumors that it was actually a Deadpool film, which was proven completely false. I mean, I say it's Deadpoolish, but it's not. But it's just something about Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. So whenever you see him, he just ekes Deadpool. And also, you got to remember that this Deadpool 3, this will officially be part of the MCU. And so this will actually be in Marvel. This is canon in the MCU. So that's exciting. And it's exciting to see Sean Levy do a Marvel film. I can't wait to see this. I hope they still make it R. Because these last two, whether it's Free Guy or the Adam Project, were not R-rated properties. But Deadpool needs to be R. I'm sorry. It needs to be R. You cannot make a Deadpool movie at PG-13. Or I say you can't. You can, but it won't be good. Because Deadpool is very violent and vulgar. And so to tone all that down would be a disservice to that character. I'm just throwing that out there, people. Now, I could be wrong. I could be corrected. It may be the best out of the three. A PG-13 Deadpool 3. I just don't. I'm skeptical about it. Now, with that being said, and I know I'm going down this rabbit hole, but all this stuff is popping in my mind. With that being said, if you think back to Die Hard, right? Live Free or Die Hard. Now, Live Free or Die Hard was PG-13. And I remember everybody was losing their minds about that, including me, because I was like, how you make a PG-13 Die Hard movie? I was kind of upset. Then when you go see the movie, and you're like, well, this movie's pretty good. This movie is pretty good. I actually enjoyed Live Free or Die Hard. It wasn't the greatest Die Hard movie, but it was good. To say it was PG-13. Then we fast forward to, what was it called? Die Another, no, not Die Another. A Good Day to Die Hard. And they went back to being R. And that movie was hot trash. That movie was horrible, and it was R. And that I learned a valuable lesson that day. Yeah, number one, I took off of work. I called in sick. You know, statutes of limitations. I'm good now. But I called in to work to go see that movie. I rather went to work. I was so mad with myself. Because I'm a huge Die Hard fan. And it was going back to the R rating and blah, blah, blah. I sat in that theater and I wanted to just fight somebody after that. I'm like, how y'all mess up Die Hard? Oh, I was mad. Anyways, Adam Project was awesome. It is a B+. I highly recommend it. So everybody, if you haven't checked out The Adam Project, it is currently on Netflix. It is worth a watch. I would say it's worth a sit down and watch. Now, I believe I started this episode out. I probably started talking, and this is typical Kevin Reed. I probably started talking and didn't mention that this is a special episode, because this episode is a 2-part review. We have 2 movies that we're reviewing today. The Adam Project was the newer film. This was the film that really caught my attention last weekend when it first came out, and I figured I'll review it. And the second film is basically a kind of a celebration, because this weekend, everybody, this weekend is my birthday, and I figured I'd do a little birthday celebration here on the show by reviewing a film that is centered around birthdays somewhat, because it is Happy Death Day, and it is centered around birthdays, people, so relax. It do have something to do with birthdays. But yes, it is my birthday weekend, and I am turning the ripe young age of 43. And you know, I got to the point where I guess when I turned 40 years old, I stopped caring. You know, I really don't give much weight into birthdays. You know, I really don't have to do nothing special. I'm just happy with whatever. However life goes, I'm happy. You know, because I got everything I need, and a vast majority of things I want. So I can't complain. So I'm not a real party guy. So none of that is you know, my thing. So I'm not really, you know, I really don't look forward to celebrating a birthday, even though, you know, you can still acknowledge, you can still give a shout out, you can still send money if you want. But you know, I'm just not that type of dude. But this year, I must say, now, like I said, when I turned 40, I really stopped caring. So for the past couple of years, I really haven't cared about birthdays. I really, you know, it's nothing now. I'm not really, it's just another day. That's how I look at it. It's just another day. But this year I feel differently. This year I feel happy to celebrate my birthday. And the only reason is because my girls are coming back in town this weekend. We're going to celebrate. You know, I have some things going on this weekend. Actually, I'm preaching on my birthday. I'm doing a lot of stuff this weekend. I have family coming in from out of town. I have a sister-in-law whose birthday is the day after mine. So we're doing a little combined celebration thing, and we rarely all get together to do anything. So this is this is something to be happy about, to see all, my extended family. This is my family on my wife's side, and it's gonna be fun, and I'm excited. I don't know, I just got giddy all of a sudden, like, oh, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. At least I hope so. But yes, it is my birthday, so happy birthday to me. So let's get into this review. Let's review this birthday classic film. Because this is the first film that popped in my head when I thought about birthdays. And I said, hey, there's no other reason I would review this film other than this. So, Happy Death Day is a 2017 American black comedy slasher film directed by Christopher Landon. And Christopher Landon, for all of you who don't know, is the son of the late Michael Landon. From the Partridge Family. Not the Partridge Family. What is it? Little House on the Prairie. Where I get Partridge Family. But yeah, Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven, I think it was called. Yeah, that Michael Landon. This is his son, and he directed this film. And Christopher Landon has worked in this business. Of course, he was born into it with his father being a well-known actor, but he has written a lot of horror movies. He wrote, I want to say, almost all of the Paranormal Activity films, with the exception of the first one. But from 2 on down, he wrote all those. He directed a few films, and this one was his biggie. And of course, it was a massive success. The film, it only had a budget of $4.8 million. That's all it cost to make this movie. $4.8 million. To me, that's a lot of money. I wish I had $4.8 million right now. But the standard of movie making, this is like a indie. This is like a supreme indie movie. $4.8 million. But it grossed worldwide $125 million, making it a massive hit. The plot of this film, it follows a college student who is murdered on the night of her birthday and begins reliving the day repeatedly, at which point she sets out to find the killer and stop her death. This movie caught me off guard. It's a mixture of Groundhog Day and Scream. If you take Groundhog Day and Scream and they had a baby, it would be Happy Death Day. This was a very unique plot, very unique story, something that the horror genre has been missing, something new, something fresh, or not so much new, but a new spin on it. And I love that about this movie. It was funny. The scares were actually kind of good. The scares in this movie. The film stars Jessica Ralph, Israel Broussard, and this film was filmed in the great city of New Orleans. I remember when they filmed this movie. They actually filmed it at Loyola University, uptown. And I remember when they filmed this movie down there. It's so awesome, man. I love movies that are filmed down here, because I guess other people get that feeling like in LA or New York or Chicago, wherever they film movies at, or most recently Atlanta. Atlanta is popping. Because I can look at places and they're familiar, and like, oh, I know where that is. Oh, I've been there, or things like that. I just love that. And I love when movies are filmed down here, because a lot of films should be filmed down here. New Orleans is like it's like a movie, a living movie studio. You could make any movie in New Orleans. Honestly, War of the Planet of the Apes was filmed here. Jurassic World was filmed here, and you wouldn't even know it. You know, all these movies were filmed down here, and so yeah, I get a kick out of movies that are actually filmed, and I follow them closely. Terminator Genesis was filmed down here, unfortunately. A friend of mine, he was working at the airport when they were filming that, because one of the scenes take place in a parking garage, and they used the parking garage at the airport. And my friend was working. He actually took a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that and sent it to me. Like, I got to see Arnold. You know, I stopped being friends with him for a while because I was jealous. But yeah, anyway, happy Death Day. Yeah, I love the aspect of it's her birthday, of course, and she gets murdered on her birthday. And freakily, she's every time she's murdered, she relives the day. She comes back just like Groundhog Day. And so every day, every time she's murdered and comes back, she's trying to solve who's killing her. She's trying to stop it. You know what I'm saying? It was so interesting and fresh and new. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. Even to the point where, you know, critics don't really care for horror movies, especially slasher films, but critics deemed this film entertaining, and they praised Ross' performance while acknowledging the familiar premise, and describes it as, like I said, a new spin on Groundhog Day. They made a sequel, Groundhog Day to You. Groundhog Day, Happy Death Day to You, which came out 2 years later, and it was I couldn't stand it. I did that. It was all right. I'll put it like that, but it pales in the comparisons of Happy. I keep saying Ground. I shouldn't have went down there because now it's stuck in my head. Happy Death Day. It pales in the comparisons to the original. But in any event, Happy Death Day gets a B. It is a good little black comedy / horror slasher film, you know, and it's not gratuitous violence. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I think it's PG-13. I could be wrong, but it is not you know, a bloodfest movie. It is actually pretty good. It really caught me off guard a few years ago when I first saw it. I was like, wow, this is a really interesting movie. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this movie. Yes, Happy Death Day gets a B. Yes, everybody, it is my birthday. So I'm going to be tied up this weekend. I am well, actually I'm anticipating some news for a new show, not a new show. As you know, or if you don't know, you're about to find out. I am here on the KB Radio Network. We have a show called The Dome Patrol where we discuss the New Orleans Saints for all you Saints fans and football fans. Even if you're not a Saints fan, you can listen to it. You know, we give insight to most NFL things. I've been waiting for some news on the NFL, at least the Saints and free agency. So whenever that news drops, whenever we get some news going on, because there's a major move that's supposed to happen any day now, probably right after I finished recording this, we're going to have Dome Patrol podcast episode to drop the following day. So be on the lookout for that. If you are a listener, if you're not, become one. But everybody, I love talking to y'all. I love rambling and going all over the place, and y'all still manage to stick with me no matter what. And I really, really do appreciate it. Once again, I highly recommend The Adam Project, which is currently on Netflix. Check it out if you haven't already. And my review of Happy Death Day. Love that movie. Perfect birthday movie to watch on my birthday weekend. So everybody, if you're listening on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave those 5 stars. Don't forget to leave those reviews. If you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to follow the show. You can leave 5-star ratings there as well. You can share the show on your various social media platforms. And for all of you, whether you're listening to or you're trying to find other places to listen to the show, as I mentioned before, you can listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, everywhere. Just Alexa. You could ask Alexa to play the show, which is a new feature, which is pretty awesome. Everywhere, wherever podcasts are available, we are available as well. Social media platforms, you can look us up on social media. If you want to contact the show through social media, you can find the KB Radio Network on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, everybody. Everybody, let me tell y'all, man, this is the best present I can get, is all of you. Y'all are my greatest present every week here on Movie Goodness, on Can't Wait Wednesday, on the Dome Patrol. All you who support the KB Radio Network, that's the gift that keeps on giving, and I truly do appreciate it, and I love you. I want you all to continue to love one another, and until we speak again on the other side of 43, you all be blessed.